Hello, my name is Lauren. Wow, the sun. My name is Lauren if you are new here, and I am a third year medical student. Welcome to the final internal medicine vlog. It's gonna be quite the vlog, okay? There's a lot to do. Today's Wednesday, happy Wednesday, and my shelf is in 2 days. Now listen, usually I talk about how behind on studying I am, and oh my god, it's so scary, it's so spooky, blah blah blah. And I hope you're all proud of me because I'm actually not behind. I feel like this is my 5th rotation of third year, and I feel like I don't have everything 100% together, but I feel like study-wise, I was so consistent and I worked so hard this rotation, and I'm so proud of myself. I feel like I kind of was forced to, because internal medicine is actually the broadest topic, the broadest rotation, the broadest specialty, the broadest shelf, whatever you want to call it, of third year. So I do my practice questions on UWorld, and some rotations that are really focused, like neurology has like 300 UWorld questions. And then other rotations that are a little more broad, like surgery had like 600 UWorld questions. Internal medicine had over 1,000. Over 1,000. And I didn't finish those questions. I didn't think I would, honestly. I've never finished any questions on UWorld except when I did psych, because there was like 200 questions. I did 600 questions, and right now I'm in the process of taking my 3rd NBME practice exam, and I'm just in a really good place. And I'm also like not doing bad on the NBME practice exams, which we'll talk about like everything else a bit later. I'm on my way into my rotation. It's currently 7:50. Sorry, the lighting's like so bad, guys. I'm really sorry. I look like I have like camo on my face. Wednesdays are our long days for my internal medicine team. So what that means is we come in at normal time in the morning, and then at 2:30 we are allowed to start getting admissions. We can get up to 4, and we can get new admissions or new patients between 2:30 and I believe 6:30. If you haven't gotten all 4 of your new patients and it's like 6 o'clock, you have to stay there until you get them all. As I said, our shelf is in 2 days. We have never not stayed, like me and the other students, for the late day, but I don't know if they're gonna like surprise us and be like, oh, you guys don't have to stay today. I don't know. I love how this vlog and last vlog I'm talking about like leaving early. I literally never leave early. It just so happens that these are the days that I'm filming. But I kind of think that that won't happen. I think that we'll stay the whole day, and then I'll probably stay after school and study, and Thursday, tomorrow, is my half day since it's the day before the shelf, so we only have to stay till 12, and then I'll be studying my little heart out on Thursday, and then Friday I take the shelf. After the shelf on Friday, I'm going to go out with some friends, which I'll include in the vlog, and yeah, that will probably be the whole vlog. So just to give you a little outline of how this is gonna go. I'm gonna make this quick because I really need to go inside and start my day. But I have 2 patients. One of them is an elderly patient, which honestly is not even relevant, but they basically had a giant clot in their heart, the left side of their heart, left ventricle, and as the heart was beating, it was shooting off little pieces of the clot, and there's some clots that went to their brain, caused some strokes. There's some clots that went to their kidney and to their spleen and to their leg, and basically some clots cut off the circulation of the patient's feet, both of them. So their feet have dry gangrene and necrosis, and they're like black, and the tissue is basically dead. But because the patient had all these strokes, they no longer have capacity. I'll put a definition on the screen. And they also are a cardiovascular risk because they have all these issues and all these other things going on. So it's a matter of if we take them to the OR and do above the knee amputation of both of their lower extremities, their legs, or if we don't do anything about it, but the feet are painful. So the person who has to make that decision is the person's son, but the person's son is not really reachable. So now we're trying to ask the patient's siblings, and it's like this whole big thing with kind of figuring out if they want to move forward with surgery or not. That's my one patient. My other patient came in like 2 days ago because they were having really bad abdominal pain and they have alcohol use disorder, and it caused them to get alcohol pancreatitis or acute pancreatitis from alcohol use, and it's not their first time getting it, so we're just treating the pancreatitis. Yeah, those are my 2 patients. If the students do stay for like the late day admissions today, then I will probably pick up a 3rd, and we'll just see how the day goes. So let's get started. It's gonna be a long couple days, but I feel like, if you can't tell, I'm in a great mood and I'm loving my rotation. I'm happy. I'm just really, really tired. I'm so tired because I really work. I always work hard, but you have to work like so hard. So let's go in there and let's work really, really hard for my patients. I just saw my patients. They're doing okay. One of them tried to leave AMA, or against medical advice. They also call it patient-directed discharge now, 3 times overnight. So I'm hoping that patient will stay and get treatment, the pancreatitis patient. It's lunchtime. It is 1 o'clock, aka lunchtime, and I'm gonna study a bit. I'm in the middle of an NBME exam, so I'm gonna do some of those questions, get through as much as I can, and then at 2-ish, we are going to run the list or talk about the patients with our attending, and we'll see if we stay or if we're dismissed. I also am definitely getting a coffee ASAP immediately. It's in the 3 hour. They released us early, but we do have to come tomorrow. Just got some study snacks. I believe the perfect combo of study snacks is something salty, something sweet, and something sour. However, I didn't like the salty options in that vending machine, but if I really need it, I'll go back. Let me just talk in the stairwell for a second. First of all, someone is sitting in my assigned seat out there, and I just want to say I'm very offended. Second, it's like 3-something right now, and this building closes at 8 o'clock, so I have up until that time to work my little butt off. If I feel like I need more time, I will just go to the other medical school building that is 24 hours. But right now, I'm almost done my NBME practice exam that I've been like kind of picking at all day. So I'll finish that, review those questions, and then I would be satisfied going home after that. But we have to see how I'm feeling. Let's go. Study my butt off. I just finished my practice exam and it actually went well. I got a 76, which is a high pass. And my goal is a 79 or higher. So we're going up. My first practice exam that I took on Saturday, I got a 70, and then the one I took on Sunday, I got a 68, and now this one I got a 76. So we're going in the right direction now. So it's 4:55. I'm gonna review this exam and see where we're at time-wise, but I'm sure I can review it before the building closes, especially because I only got told wrong. I haven't even touched my snacks yet. I'm still working on my coffee, but energy's pretty high, even though I sound kind of dead, but energy's like, productive energy is high. Also, look at this really funky question that I got. I mean, I'm showing you the answer, but like, without actually having the answer in front of you, it's just like, why is this person in the vignette just like eating dirty, unwashed food and unrefrigerated food and like all of these things? Like, ma'am, please. I'm going home. Where's my car? Oh my god, where's my car? Oh my god, where's my car? Oh, I'm on the wrong floor. Okay, cool. Embarrassing. If anyone hears this song and thinks of a certain movie, you and I can be friends. If you know the movie, I'll give you a hint. That's the hint. There's dancing balls. Go on. Sometimes when I pick up Vaco, I let him sniff things at my eye level and, just entertain him. And a lot of the times I like to, if I'm turning off a light switch, I like to be like, oh, you want to turn the light switch off? And have his foot turn it off, but I'm the one pushing it. So just now, I'm out there in the kitchen and I'm like, oh, you want to turn the light off? And he kind of swings his arm by himself, but he missed. And I was like, Vaca, do you actually want to turn the light off? And then he starts biting the light switch next to the light switch that's on. And then he starts biting the light switch that's actually on. And with his teeth, he flipped it off. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even lying. I have a genius cat. You're a genius. I just cannot believe Vaco just turned off a whole light switch on his own. Like, whoa. Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. Happy day before the exam. And today is my last day of internal medicine, which is so crazy. It is currently 7:40. This morning is going to be a little stressful because basically they didn't make us stay late yesterday for the new patients that came in the late afternoon, early evening, but they still want us, they as in the residents, the team, whatever, still wants us to present those patients, which means we're gonna have to present patients that we didn't admit. If you don't understand what I'm saying, it's basically if someone does a PowerPoint for you, they do a whole PowerPoint presentation and then you just stand at the front of the class and you read it, but you didn't write anything. It's kind of like that. And it's just giving me a little anxiety because I don't know, I didn't bring in this patient. You know what I mean? And then if my attending asks me questions, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. And then my resident is gonna have to jump in. I don't know, we're gonna see how it goes.
That is a habit I never had.
It's 8:57. I'm going to see my patients. We actually only got 2 new ones yesterday, so I don't need to take a new one because the other students have less patients. So that worked out in my favor. I'm hoping you can hear me because it's so loud, downstairs, and the sound is carrying. It's currently 1:37. I love how there's always reminders on my phone when I show you guys because reminders run my life. Otherwise, I would have no idea what's going on. We got out of rotation at 11:50, and I've been in this building ever since. I relaxed and ate lunch and watched a YouTube video. I have my mocha latte here, which is my coffee of choice for those of you who didn't know. And I'm about to start my very last practice exam. It's 5 o'clock and I'm obviously sitting in my car. I finished the practice exam, and the whole time I was taking the exam, I felt so awful. I really was like, I think I failed this. It also took me 2.5 hours to get through the exam. And that exam I think is just supposed to take an hour and like a half. So, and then I scored it, and I actually got the same score that I got in my last practice exam, which I'm not that upset about. But obviously, like, I would have preferred to see the score go up. I made a couple really silly mistakes, and I felt so mentally and emotionally exhausted while taking it because I thought I was failing. So I'm in my car because, first of all, my headphones are dying, and well, they're dead. Really, they're really actually dead. They don't have any chargers to rent at the building that I was in, but they had them at the main medical school building, which is just like literally, I don't know, 2 blocks away. I have my wire headphones, but that doesn't cancel out noise. So that's like my first problem. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is I needed a change of scenery because I just felt so drained sitting in the spot that I was sitting in. I also brought a change of clothes today because my scrubs are not that warm. They're comfy, but they're not warm, and it's so cold. Yesterday, I don't think I showed it on camera, but I actually put on my gloves to study like halfway through when I was in the building that I was in because it's so cold there, and I had to do that the day before too, and that's like really sad. So I brought like cozier, like sweat type stuff that I can change into. So now I'm trying to decide, do I go home and review my practice exam there, and then after I review the exam I can just read my little like review notes and just chill? Or do I go into like the other, like the main medical school building and change and like go in there and study? What do I do? Oh, let's flip a coin. I had this similar dilemma like I think Tuesday, because the building I was in closed at 8 p.m. I didn't know that it closed at 8 p.m. So this man came up to me. I'm like deep studying. I was on some coffee, so I was like hyper focused. I was so productive. I had so much energy. And then this man basically comes over and tells me to leave the building. Did I tell this story already? Hopefully not. This man comes over and tells me, like, kicks me out of the building basically. And then I was like, should I like keep using my energy at the other building that's 24 hours, or do I go home? And I flipped a coin, and Siri said heads for head home. Let's flip a coin. It's just when I get home, it's so hard to like get home and then shower and then get back into the groove of things. It's so hard to do that for me. Flip a coin.
It's tails.
It's a tails. That was so dramatic. Okay, then I'll stay. So let's change into comfier clothes. And then I'm gonna go to the medical school building, the main one, and keep studying. Sorry if I sound like low energy. That exam really mentally, I just felt like I was getting beat up the entire time, and I felt so like dumb, honestly, taking it. And then sometimes that happens. The exams you feel the worst on, you actually like don't do bad on. So I don't know. Anyways, it really downed my mood. But let's change and go back into another building to study. I'm changed. I'm recharged mentally. My headphones are charged. And I'm ready to go review this exam. Hopefully I'm out of this place in like 2 hours. That's the goal, time-wise. Will my favorite room be open? Let's see, let's peek. Yay! My fave!
That is the heaven I never had.
I'm done! Woo! I'm so tired, and I'm gonna run out of here and run home. What is happening with your little eyeball? You kiss. Rocco. Yeah, come here. Thanks, baby. Thanks, baby. Good morning. Happy exam day. I don't know how we got here. I can't believe I'm taking a shelf today. I'm worried about my stamina, I'm not gonna lie, but I have to get through it. There's no not getting through it, so we're just gonna go do it, really.
Much later.
Who's to know what happens when the world ends? At least this is an okay bar for running into you. It's an awful house, and I wanted to get you out. I'm working on a plan right now to come through. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm down. Oh, nothing feels the same without you now. I've waited for nothing feels the same without you now.
Hello. Wow, it has been a minute since I last picked up the camera. The last clip you saw, I think I probably filmed maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe. I have had a lot going on. I actually had a lot going on since like the first week of internal medicine, and things have just continued to be pretty rough outside of my rotation. So like in my personal life, yeah, it's been really hard. So I just kind of haven't been wanting to pick up the camera, and I've been avoiding filming this wrap up for weeks now, and it's time to finally do it because I just can't avoid it anymore, and I want to go back to vlogging and everything. I have been fighting a lot of battles, and the biggest one being I lost a family member. Whoa, did not expect to get emotional. I lost a family member recently, and it's been hard. Wow. Sorry, was not trying to get emotional at all. I didn't even know if I was gonna say that part. I wanted to just give a disclaimer that if I am not like sunshine and rainbows like I usually am when I film the wrap-ups of the rotations that I liked, then that might be why. But I did absolutely love internal medicine, and if I'm not smiling from ear to ear the whole time, just know that I am like on the inside talking about this rotation. Okay, transitioning. Let's talk about internal medicine. I didn't give this disclaimer before my OB-GYN wrap up. I honestly just forgot, but anything that I say is my thoughts, opinions, experiences. It doesn't reflect the specialty as a whole or every internal medicine physician. I feel like that was a really awkward transition. I don't know. I don't really know how to like transition from that. So I have my rankings here. The first category I have is diagnoses. For internal medicine, I gave the diagnoses a 9 out of 10. Internal medicine is so broad. Oh my gosh. The only other specialty that I've done so far that has been close to this broad was surgery, but internal medicine has even more of a variety because for surgery to be involved, there has to be a possibility to operate. But internal medicine deals with everything, like any possible thing you can go to the hospital for. Internal medicine sees it and takes care of it, and it's super amazing. Some things that internal medicine might see are heart failure or kidney failure, dialysis patients, stroke patients, like more like long-term chronic things. They might see short-term things like pneumonia or infections of the skin or wounds, a fracture, like things like that. It's just such a broad spectrum of things that you can see, and you have to know so much information to be able to be an internal medicine doctor. You have to know all the organ systems, you have to know all the diseases, really. I mean, it's so much that you have to know, and internal medicine doctors are geniuses. I have so much respect for them. I think I said this in my last vlog, the first internal medicine vlog, but I thought that because internal medicine is considered primary care, that you wouldn't have to know things in depth a lot, like know everything in depth. I thought you could kind of just like know, you know, something about like certain diagnoses, but then if you're gonna refer to a specialist anyway, then you wouldn't have to be aware of a lot of information about those diagnoses. But no, internal medicine doctors literally know everything. The more the internal medicine doctors know, the less they have to consult a specialist, which saves the specialist time and effort, because then they can focus on cases that they really need to focus on. So yeah, it's really great. I couldn't be happier with the amount of diagnoses that internal medicine doctors deal with and treat and see. So yeah, super cool. For excitement, I gave internal medicine an 8 out of 10. It's not the type of excitement where, you know, someone's bleeding out and you have to go to, well, actually, sometimes patients are bleeding. Sometimes they do bleed. It's not the type of bleeding out where you're like going to the OR in 5 seconds. I mean, it could be, but you're not the person going to the OR. You're calling surgery to take them to the OR. You just never know what someone is gonna walk in with. And sometimes there's such a mystery of what is happening with the patient. I've seen patients come in and they have anemia symptoms where they're tired and their hemoglobin is low and lightheaded. And then we're trying to figure out why they have anemia and they're clearly like bleeding from somewhere in their body, but we can't find it. Things like that. I think another thing that is not exciting in the best way, which every time I say excitement, it doesn't mean like I want things to happen. Like I don't want my patients to be unhealthy or bleeding out or anything crazy or vomiting or whatever. But another thing with internal medicine is with certain patient populations that you see in the hospital, especially where I am, which is in North Philadelphia. I go to Temple University, for those of you who don't know. Sometimes patients leave the hospital on their own without completing their treatment or their management or assessment to like determine a treatment plan. Sometimes it's due to like social factors, like maybe no one can watch their children, or maybe something's going on with their house, they need to get home, or they need to go pick up a check, or they need to go to work, or things like that. Other stuff could be we have a pretty significant IV drug user population in North Philadelphia, and a lot of our patients in this population come in with wounds from where they inject and infections associated with those wounds. And sometimes patients in that population will leave because, you know, they're struggling to stay in the hospital and not use substances, which obviously it's a medical diagnosis. It's not like there's any judgment there, but there's like a level of excitement in which you have to be able to connect with a patient and meet their needs, not just medically, but holistically, to get them to stay in the hospital as long as you feel like they need to be, for them to be treating their illnesses or their wounds or their diagnoses properly. So sometimes you're kind of on like a time crunch of, if you think that a patient is not going to stay very long, you have to figure out how you can treat them very quickly. Or for example, if they're supposed to be on IV antibiotics, if you think the patient is going to leave, you have to come up with a plan of something you can try to give them orally so they can take with them, even if that's not like the standard of care for that infection, if that makes sense. So there is kind of like excitement there. You never know when people are gonna come or what they're gonna come in with, and you never know when they're gonna leave or why they're gonna leave, but you just have to kind of like do your best with treating people that are in the hospital and doing everything you can for them while they're there, and coming up with a plan for when they leave. For patient relationship, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, and I'm specifically speaking on internal medicine in the hospital. If that's not clear, my entire rotation was inpatient in the hospital. Internal medicine doctors can practice outpatient and can be like someone's primary care physician. People who are 18 and up can go to an internal medicine doctor for that. But I'm specifically talking about hospital medicine and inpatient. Internal medicine is one of those things that patient relationships are really what you make it. You can be as connected or disconnected with your patients as much as you see fit, really. And I personally connected with my patients so much, of course some more than others depending on personalities or how long they were there or whatever, but some of my patients, honestly, the connections I formed with them were insane. Some patients are there for like a day or 2 days, and other patients might be there, like my longest patient, that was there while I was in my rotation was probably like a month. So some patients stay longer than others, but I mean, no matter how long they stay, you can really connect with your patients, which I just didn't know you could do in hospital medicine. And it really surprised me. I really loved that part of internal medicine. I had one patient who I think I spoke about them in my last video, but I was following them as in like, they were my patient, I was taking care of them, and I was, you know, doing tasks towards their care and everything. And they had surgery and then they got transferred to a different team off of the internal medicine service, and they weren't our patient anymore. And then I went and visited them after they had surgery, and then they got discharged and they had to come back. And then when they came back, I saw that they were back in the hospital, and I went to visit them again, even though they still were my patient. And like, I don't know, I just really connected with them, and I'll never forget that patient and what that patient represents, which is like just how amazing internal medicine is and how much I loved internal medicine and like what internal medicine is really about to its core. Like I feel like my experience with that patient and others, but specifically that one, kind of like encompasses internal medicine. So yeah, that was really great. I had another patient who was in the hospital for a day and a half, and when they were leaving, they were like hugging me and they were like tearing up, talking about, you know, how amazing it was to have me on their team. And then, you know, that makes me feel really great because I don't know, I just tried so hard to do everything I possibly could for my patients and to advocate for them, which I kind of spoke about in my last video. I don't want to harp on it too much, but the patients that come into the hospital, a lot of the times they just need, of course they need medical care, but they really need to be heard and all of their needs need to be addressed. And a lot of the times it's not just their one medical problem that they came in with. It's like their chronic diagnoses as well, and their social issues or social factors going on, and like maybe family factors, and just so many things that you can help your patients with as a hospitalist. And patients are also just in such a vulnerable position living in a hospital that's not where they live. Usually they're not home, they're not eating their food, they're not in their routine. So it's so easy for a patient to be irritable and to feel like they're being neglected because they don't see everything you do behind the scenes for them. So it's really important to build a strong relationship with them and have a lot of like really good communication with them. This rotation was actually like one of the only rotations that I noticed. I would come home and I would keep thinking about my patients. Not every single day, but it would happen. I don't know, I just realized I was like having a little bit of trouble like switching off, which might be a sign of passion. I guess it is a sign of passion for my patients and for the rotation, but you know, it also could be a negative thing because that could lead to more burnout. That sometimes it felt like because there was so much to do for the patients, because I felt so connected with them, that I was kind of like bringing that home with me, and I would just be thinking like, so what should we do next for this patient? Or like, you know, why didn't this work? Or like, why did they leave? You know, things like that. Lifestyle. I gave lifestyle an 8 out of 10. Honestly, it could be like a, is that crazy? No, it really could be a 9 out of 10. I'm gonna say 8 to 9 out of 10. And that's because, and I didn't know this before I did this rotation, internal medicine physicians that work in the hospital, definitely at Temple, and I believe most hospitals, work for 7 days straight. So at Temple, it's Monday to Sunday. And then they get 7 days off. So it's 7 days on, 7 days off. And if you just really think about that concept, they work for half the year, which is insane. Like, you might think, oh, you know, I would never want to do that because I would miss a weekend with my family or my friends or whatever is important to you that you do on the weekends. But then you can make it up to that person or that activity or whatever, because then you get a whole week off. It just sounds so amazing. The biggest downside that I would see to it is I feel like at the end of that 7 days off, it's probably like maybe hard to go into work. But if you love internal medicine and you love your job, then probably less hard, you know? And that might also be different if you're not in a teaching hospital. I'm not sure, but from what I have seen and from what I've heard, that seems to be like a pretty standard practice with internal medicine. So, and then hours wise during the day, I think the attending physicians probably show up around like 8, and then they might go home at 4, they might go home as late as 6. It kind of depends on what's happening in the day. It just seems like a really great lifestyle. So, and you also get vacation on top of your 7 days on, 7 days off. So it just seems like it could be really great. And you can pick up being on call overnight if you're attending. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with that. Okay, the shelf. I gave the shelf a 7 out of 10. That internal medicine shelf honestly was so hard. First of all, I ran out of time. So the last like 7 questions, I skimmed and then just like clicked something and had to hit next. Like, I was like going like this for the last couple questions. And then once I finished it and I went to find my friends in the building, I was speechless. Like, I could not think of words to say that could describe how I felt in that moment. Like, I just was so speechless with how that went. It felt so awful. It felt like I was just getting like mentally beat up for hours. It's the hardest shelf I've taken. So harder to me than OB, surgery, neuro, and psych. Like, just, it was so hard. I also felt like that was the best I had studied prior to a shelf and the most prepared I felt going to a shelf, but it still was so hard. I knew leaving the shelf that I passed. Like, I was confident that I passed, but I wasn't really confident that I met my goal. And I received my score a couple of days after I took it, and I missed my goal percent by 1 percentage point, which is so frustrating. I still high passed, but I was just 1 percentage point off, which could have been as little as 1 question, which if I really let myself sit here and think about it, like, it really actually frustrates me, but I like tell myself, just let it go. It was hard, but I think the questions were really interesting because they're so broad. And I think studying for the shelf and doing the internal medicine rotation has really transformed me as a student because I learned so much. Like, during the day in the rotation, I felt like a sponge. Like, I just was absorbing so much knowledge during the day, and then when I was studying and I was applying that knowledge to the questions and like learning more things from the questions, I just have never learned so much in 6 weeks in my life, not including dedicated. That's a whole situation, but I have never learned that much in a rotation. The fact that I feel like I'm a better student and I will be a better doctor for the stuff that I learned in this rotation is really great. So overall, I would give internal medicine an 8.75 out of 10, which is a really, really great score. I loved internal medicine so much. I really don't have like many bad things to say about it. I think depending on the type of person and the type of doctor you want to be, it can definitely be very overwhelming being a hospitalist, because a patient comes in and they're assigned to you and you have to coordinate so many things because you have to give them holistic treatment. So you have to coordinate with social work and case management for like their social needs, and you have to coordinate with the specialists that need to be consulted, the GI doctors or the ENT doctors, ear, nose, and throat, or the ophthalmologist or infectious disease. Oh my gosh, we're always consulting infectious disease. And sometimes, which I saw multiple times, 2 specialists will disagree, and then you have to figure out how you can all be on the same page and like you coordinate that. And you're also communicating with the family members as well, so you're juggling a lot when you're an internal medicine doctor, and that might be a lot to some people, and I honestly didn't think I would like that, but turns out I do. It just was a really great rotation. It's a really great specialty. Yeah, I loved it, and no matter what I pick at the end of this school year, similar to my last rotation, it will always have such a special place in my heart, and I will never forget my rotation, and I will never forget my patients. Okay, I think that is everything for internal medicine. I really hope that you all enjoyed the 2 vlogs. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up. I hope it was informational. It felt a little disorganized maybe from my part, maybe just my thought process did. It might not have felt that way for you, but hopefully it was okay. I'm going to see you in the next one, which will be my first pediatric vlog, so I am excited to bring that to you. And if you're interested in that, then subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And if you enjoyed this video, please like the video, comment down below any questions that you have, and I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you in the next one.